Got a cold tea in my hand, life is good. What's up, my dudes? Got us a interesting little Spency Boy Classico here. Got us a little old school MX Simulator guide vibes going on. So, what made me even think about making this video was the fact that I haven't played MX Simulator in about, I would say, like anywhere from 3 weeks to a month. I'm talking like did not even touch the game at all. Not at all. And it was quite interesting trying to come back to the game after not playing it for that long. That's what sort of sparked up this whole idea to make this, coming back to MX Simulator guide, because I feel like there's so many people that go through this exact same thing where, they play the game for a certain amount of time pretty consistently, and then they'll stop playing it for like a week or 2 or 3 or a couple months, and then they try to come back, and there's all these weird little things that happen when you try to come back, and all this stuff that you gotta, figure out how to do when you come back to the game, so it's not such a, crazy shock to the system trying to come back to it, right? If you don't play MX Simulator for at least a month, you will see exactly what mind muscle memory is all about, dog. You'll see exactly why that is really what makes your skill on MX Simulator. It's all about mind muscle memory. And what happens when you don't play it for a certain amount of time, it's almost like your mind muscle memory of your brain has to like catch back up to where it was before you quit playing the game. You know what I mean? It's like your brain kind of gets a little dull, your skills get a little dull, and you have to get back into the game, and it can be really bizarre because it's like your brain is trying to go faster than what it's like your mind muscle memory is trying to go faster than what your current brain state can go. You understand what I'm saying? It's like your mind muscle memory is still back in before you quit, and the speed that you're trying to go and you think that you can go in the game is all back before you quit playing, but you can't just snap back into the game and go that fast right away. It just doesn't work like that. The game is too complicated. The mind muscle memory, it's something you have to consistently keep sharp to stay good at the game, to stay sharp at the game. It's something, MX Simulator is one of those games you have to play this game often if you really want to keep your skill going. Not even talking about advancing your skills and getting better at the game and faster at the game, but just to keep your skill at a certain level, you have to at least play this game, 2 or 3 days a week. And if you want to really be advancing your skills, you got to be playing this game just about every single day. If you want to actually be, advancing that mind muscle memory, that's the only real way to actually truly improve your skills on MX Simulator, is to play this game every single day. I would say at least an hour to 2 hours every single day. That's way better than playing it 6 hours one day once a week. Right? It's way better to play it consistently for a little bit every day versus a lot in one day and then just not playing it for any other days in the week. That's way worse. I'm telling you, mind muscle memory works off of routine. It works off of daily consistency, routine, and then your brain gets so used to it, it's like walking. You know what I mean? Your brain just automatically does things on the bike and in the game that you never even thought was possible, and that's all from mind muscle memory. And that goes with anything, any sort of skill in life. It's the exact same way. That's what's so cool about MX Simulator. It teaches you how, anything is possible in real life, right? Real life motocross, it's the same way. You better be riding just about every day if you even think about wanting to go any kind of pro level. You got to be doing that. It just is what, if you're not doing it, somebody else is doing it. So that's just the way it is, but either way, one of the biggest tips that I can give when you come back to MX Simulator after not playing it for a while, you're going to be wondering like, damn, what kind of track do I need to be on? What do I need to be doing? You could see me right there finally starting to get my speed going. So this was literally the first like 10 laps I'd rode after not touching the game for a month. You can kind of see how I was trying to get the vibe back. I was having some weird little, not hitting jumps perfectly and kind of sliding down corners and shit like that. Then I finally started getting the mojo back, like lap 6 or 7 right here. You can kind of see I finally hit this whoop to a Dragon's Back section, like 5th gear wide open, and finally started kind of hitting some of these corners better. But the best thing I've learned from coming back to MX Simulator, and I've done this multiple times before, okay? Like, I've been playing MX Simulator for, 5 years now? So, I've been playing her for a colder than a witch's titty minute, right? And there's been multiple times where I've had to do that coming back to MX Simulator thing, and you kind of got to relearn the game a little bit. You never really forget. Once you've gotten yourself to a certain skill level, you never forget how to get back to that skill level, but it can be tricky at times because, depending on how long you haven't played the game, it can be really weird and disorienting and confusing when you do get back into the game. But whatever skill level you reach at a certain point in this game, you can always eventually get back to at least that. You know what I mean? You can always eventually get back to that. I'm not saying you can get more than that, but you can always get at least back to whatever the best skill level you was in the game at some point in time. It's just all in a matter of how much you want to get in there and knock the rust off, right? So that's why it's so important when you are building your skill to build it as far as you can build it before you take any breaks. But let's get back to one of the biggest points to this whole guide right here. So one of the biggest things you're going to be thinking of is like, what kind of tracks do I need to be on when I first get back into the game after not playing it for a while? What tracks, like what do I need to ride on? One of the best things I've learned to do as far as this goes is you want to be getting on tracks that you know very well, okay? This is going to be something that is going to help you a lot whenever you get back into the game. You want to, everybody has their one or two tracks or handful of tracks that they've rode on more than any other tracks in the game, right? It could be a 2017 Supercross track. It could be a 14 Supercross track. It could be a 15 motocross track. It could be a stock track. Whatever it is, whatever kind of tracks you've rode the most amount of laps on, those are the tracks you want to come back to, okay? For multiple different reasons. Number one, it's going to make you feel a lot more comfortable in the game when you're already feeling kind of in that weird, like rusty, you haven't played the game for a while. The game's going to feel super weird. It's going to feel like you're riding the bike, but you're not really riding the bike. It's a really bizarre stage coming back to MX Simulator, especially if you're at a pro level before and then trying to come back to it and get your speed back. So you want something that's as comfortable as humanly possible. And whatever track that you just sat there and railed laps on, you're already going to feel at home as far as the on-track versus just going to some new RF track that you've never rode on. You think in your head like, oh, I'm getting back into the game. Let me get on the new track. That's one of the worst things you can do because you're already feeling weird because you haven't been playing the game in a while, but then you get on a brand new track that you've never rode on before. It makes it feel even more weird and even harder to get your skills back and get your speed back up and going. So you want to be on tracks that you've rode on the most in the game. And not only that, but maybe some of the tracks you were particularly riding on the most right before you quit playing the game too. That could help a lot too with kind of linking up your brain memory, mind muscle memory neurons back to what your skill and speed level was right before you quit playing the game, right? So you just want to take all that into account and think about all that. And it's really important to be on tracks like that, not only for the comfortability reason, but also you should know exactly what sort of lap time you were getting on that, whatever that track was that you put tons and tons of laps into, I'm talking about tracks where you've put like 500 plus laps on, right? Those kind of tracks. That's what I'm talking about. You're going to know what sort of lap time is like a amateur lap time, what lap time is like a crappy, you're probably not going to qualify type lap time, what kind of lap time is like a, okay, now I'm finally feeling the vibe, getting the speed going kind of lap time, and what's like a, damn, that's like a, could win a, pro main event off of that kind of lap time. That whole sort of spectrum on, or you should know that whole sort of spectrum on whatever kind of track you're on. So that's one really weird thing that happens when you first get back into MX Simulator after not playing it for a while is your brain is going to play tricks on you because it's going to feel like you're going a lot faster than what you're actually going because your mind is not used to the speed again yet in the game. So it's going to feel like you're going lightning fast, but you're going to get across the finish line. It's going to be like, oh, I'm going like 2 or 3 seconds slower than what I would normally be going on this track, but it feels like I'm going really fast. So that's my whole point. You really need to know what lap times are what so that you sort of have something to look at. You have a gauge. You have something to sort of look at like, oh, I really am going the speed that I was going before, or I'm not actually going that speed, right? So then you can kind of judge it and base everything off of that. So, that's a really big tip as well. But yeah, that, you want to be on the exact same setup you were on before you quit playing the game. You don't want to get in there and start tinkering with stuff because that's going to jack you up. That's one of the first things you're going to try to do because it's going to be like, damn, I can't get back to that speed that I was at before. This game plays a lot of tricks on you, dude. It plays a lot of tricks on you. Getting back in there and just putting seat time in on the bike is going to be the best thing you can ever possibly do when you've not played this game for a while and you're just getting back into it. You've got to play the game. You know what I mean? Don't get in there and start jacking with your setup because you're going to end up changing something that you actually didn't want to change because it's almost like your skill level is lower than what it was before for a certain period of time. But you got to understand your setup was built for whatever your skill level was before you quit playing the game. So it's going to feel a little weird at first, maybe a little rough, maybe a little, too much movement or whatever, maybe a little too loose, but you've just got to deal with that for a minute before you get your skills back. Then everything's going to feel good again. You don't want to go in there and get to adjusting on everything when you've just come back to the game after not playing it for a while. So that's another really big tip right there. But yeah, I just kind of noticed these little things after not playing the game. It can be really weird. And I've played this game 10,000 plus hours over my illustrious career, over my, 5 years plus of playing the game. I know this game, you know what I mean? I know this game like the back of my hand, and it still feels weird when I haven't played this game for a while and I try to come back to it. It feels really weird. Like, it feels like I'm literally a beginner for a second when I first get back into it. It's like you got to relearn the whole game again to a certain extent. But once you just keep on it, you got to keep on it, play it for 3-4 hours a day for about a week straight, and you will have your skills back. You just got to put the time back into it again. It's going to feel really bizarre. It's going to be really frustrating because you're going to be trying to go faster than what your brain can actually keep up with. But all that mind muscle memory will come back eventually. You just got to get it going again. And that's the biggest tips to coming back to MX Simulator. Don't get frustrated with it. Be aware that you got to give your brain time, like days, to catch back up to the mind muscle memory you had before you quit playing the game. You've got to give your brain time to recalibrate. You got to give it time to relearn everything because that's what allows you to do what you do, especially at the pro level on MX Simulator. It's all mind muscle memory. That's everything to it. That's literally everything to it. And once you start to really learn and understand how mind muscle memory actually works, that will explain how you do everything in this game. That is literally the golden key to this game, is learning what mind muscle memory actually is. That's the biggest tip to this entire game. So, and when you stop playing the game for a certain amount of time, it just sort of dulls off that mind muscle memory, and it makes it weird when you get back into the game, makes it harder to hit big jump rhythms. You kind of feel like you got arm pump or something, like the bike's kind of flying around all over the place. You can't really control it. You're sliding out in the corners. but it all comes back eventually. You just got to keep on it. You can always get yourself back to the skill level you were at whatever point before you quit playing the game. To the highest skill level you were at, you can always get back to at least that, right? Pretty easily, too. You just got to put a little time into it. So, either way, try to give you guys a few little tips on coming back to the game. I'm just now getting back into the game, so we're going to have a lot more MX Simulator content coming up soon. Got a lot of custom tracks on the way, getting everything back going again. So, yeah, man, be looking out. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. I appreciate all you dudes that have, hit the notification bell for my channel. It really helps my channel out a lot, especially, with the way YouTube works nowadays. It's like you pretty much have to actually hit the notification bell on somebody's channel for you to get all their videos. And especially now that I'm uploading a lot more, you really need to make sure you do that so that you don't miss any of them, because just to subscribe doesn't really mean as much as it used to on YouTube anymore. So if you really want to help my channel out, that is the way to do it, is to hit the notification bell. So, yeah, either way, appreciate all the support. I love coming in here doing these guides, trying to help you guys out. And, yeah, just try to give you guys all the knowledge that I've learned over the years of playing the game, and just try to help you guys out as much as possible. And that's what I've always done with all of my MX Simulator guides, man. I don't hold stuff back. Like, I tell you guys what I've learned in the game. But no, I'm the worst dude ever for the community. Oh my God, I'm so terrible. 70 plus free custom tracks that I've made for the community. I put more time into just making custom tracks for the community in this game than most of you dudes complaining about me have even played the game. Did you ever think about that? Oh, damn, that's a little crazy, isn't it? That's a little crazy stat. Oh, man, I've literally put thousands upon thousands of hours into just making content, free track content for this game, for the community, plus all the guide videos that I've made. Like, come on now. Just because I have an opinion that you disagree with doesn't mean I'm all of a sudden terrible for the community, dog. You get off your little high horse there real quick and realize what's actually going on, and somebody can have a differing opinion than you, dog. You don't have to freak out. Like, it ain't like that, bro. So, either way, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.